Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for coming along to this event. We're very delighted to be here this afternoon. Watford Writers have been running for 16 years now. We were meeting in a hall in Watford, and since last March we have been meeting on Zoom every Monday evening. It's kept people going. We managed to produce an anthology over the past year with writing and poetry of what people have written during lockdown. It's called 2020 Vision. And we have some free copies to give away at the welcome desk after we finish the recital this afternoon. If you're interested in joining us, we're on the website. We've got a website, and you'll be more than welcome to come along. We'll send you the details. So this afternoon we have Mike, Jan and Chris are going to read extracts of their writing from the Vision anthology. So I'd like to hand over to Mike. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much, Helen, and good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to read you 4 poems which are taken from the anthology. The first one was, I suppose, started when I looked at the news one day and was shocked by the increase in knife crime that was going on. And it's called Staying Alive. Bit of push, bit of shove, bit of take no notice love, bit of ooh, bit of bit of oi mate, where we were, bit of banter, bit of rough, bit if you think you're hard enough. Bit of this, bit of that, bit of better piss off home you prat, bit of this, bit of hate, bit of time you left it out mate, bit of bother, bit of grief, bit of smack you in the teeth, bit of biff, bit of bosh, bit of knuckle duster kosh, bit of duck, bit of dive, bit of trying to stay alive, bit of carry, bit of knife, bit of one more wasted life. Thank you. The second one was written right in the middle of the lockdown, and it really recognises the real heroes of the pandemic, and it's called Stars. We trudge together, virtual arm in virtual arm, or weightless palm laid light upon a distant shoulder. Like Flanders friends, blind, we advance in lockstep march, from equinox to longest day. The arcing sun no help and cannot lift the grey. But stars there are, and not by night alone. 1,000,000 pinholes, the sum much greater than their parts, pierce the shroud. They care, they cure, they tend, they teach. And like their counterparts beyond the clouds, they reach out and point and guide, wink and nod, towards the distant light, just out of sight, 3 months down the line. Together we trudge. The third poem is called Trees, and it's really about the view from our bedroom window, and it has in the back of my mind was what we're doing to the planet, really. They are giants, old and getting older. They stand today massive shoulder to massive shoulder and keep a watchful eye. And on this day, as April silently slips away, they shimmer in the breeze. These trees who have become my friends, they tut and whisper and shake their heads, cannot believe what we, petty men, have done, and to what ends. And when at last the leaves have left, they'll stand and stare and shudder, and every bough and every branch, each and every trunk and twig, will aim accusing fingers at the sky, and then they'll turn and point to us, and breathe a silent, heartfelt why. Thank you. And then the last one is, it's called The Dealer, and it's a poem based on the theme of planets that we were given in Watford Writers about a year ago. The Dealer. Ah, this one, said the dealer, is a favourite of mine, a pearl of extreme rarity, its beauty quite sublime. As he held it in 2 fingers and raised it to the light, I allowed my gaze to linger, transfixed by the sight. Come, don these magic spectacles made specially for you. They'll bring this tiny planet more clearly into view. And so I came to understand, my ignorance turned wise, the seas, the fields, the deserts spread out before my eyes. The sum of life's ingredients, a weave of earth and soul, a tapestry, a work of art more valuable than gold. How much? I asked the dealer. I'll take it, name your price. Or maybe we can play for it with cards or coins or dice. He smiled. Alas, this beauty I'm keeping for myself. Then he closed the lid, turned the key and returned it to the shelf. Thank you.
Next, Jan.
Good afternoon, everyone. I wrote this poem after seeing a photograph during a television documentary about poverty in Birmingham in the 19th century. And the photograph was two little boys looking very poor and very dirty and very sad. And I wondered what their story was, so I imagined it. It's called A Fresh Start. We stand in the courtyard, my brother and I. I'm the oldest, so try not to cry. There are 4 of us brothers and sweet Mary Ann. We're cold, we're hungry, but we are a clan. We fill up the house with our clamour and noise, our ma and our pa, the baby, us boys. Our ma takes in washing and makes us our grub, but pa works at the factory and then goes to the pub. We came here from Ireland on a great ship, and how we looked forward to making the trip. The harvest had failed, there was nothing to eat, but pa said, "There's work on each Birmingham street." The priest came to bless us, to wish us farewell, as we boarded the vessel in rain and a swell. The crossing was hellish, so many were ill, but hope for our new life stayed with us still. Pa found a job and a place we could stay and settle and live in a much better way. But still we are struggling, still we are poor, and every meal leaves us wanting much more. Just round the corner we find a few shops, even a park if the rain ever stops. When the weather is better, we'll go out and play with some new friends, some children we found just today. We play in the courtyard, just running around, kicking a ball that somebody found. We play until Ma calls us in for our tea, a bowl of thin soup and some bread, usually. The baby keeps crying. I don't think she's well. I don't think she's thriving. Somehow you can tell. Perhaps she needs medicine, a doctor to call. But doctors cost money, and that isn't all. We need some boots for the winter ahead. Perhaps it is help for the baby instead. We take turns to rock her, to give Ma a rest. She says not to wake Pa, he's doing his best. As winter bites deeper, we lose Mary Ann. Even Pa has been weeping, although he's a man. A neighbour comes round to give Ma a hand. She lost little Charlie, so she'll understand. And when it is time, after we have been fed, top to toe for the brothers in one double bed, Ma comes to hug us and kiss us goodnight. She looks at us fondly and holds us so tight. On cold winter nights when we huddle inside, we think of the children with nowhere to hide, who wander the city and steal to get by, with no one to care if they live or they die. For though it is crowded and noisy and cold, though it is tough for the young and the old, we have a home with a bed and a chair. We have a family and love that we share.
When I was young, they said to me, "Don't do this and don't do that. Don't go out without a hat. Don't eat that, it'll make you fat. If you don't eat your greens, you won't grow tall. Don't kick that ball against the wall. Don't stay out in the park too late. Don't blow the ashes out of the grate. Don't take sweets from men you meet. Don't pick your nose when you're in the street. Don't jump in puddles when it's wet. Don't run fast, you'll get in a sweat. Don't forget to thank Gran when she gives you a penny. It may not seem much, but she doesn't have many. Don't forget to pull the chain. I've told you that again and again. Don't forget to say your prayers. Don't keep running up the stairs. Don't say what, say pardon me. Don't keep asking what's for tea. Don't push your brother out of bed. He already has a very sore head. Don't leave your marbles all over the floor. Don't forget, don't slam that door. Don't smear jam on the kitchen table. Don't pull faces at Auntie Mabel. Don't cheat teacher when you go to school. You'll be thrown out and end up a fool. Don't stick sellotape on the cat. Don't do this and don't do that. But now that I've turned 74, I can do all these things, but they're no fun anymore. This is called Phil the Greek. He's a diamond geezer, Phil the Greek. Always keen to please her, Phil the Greek. The noblest, kindest prince you'll ever meet. People will be out to cheer the Queen. We'll all have a party, cheer the Queen. While here you walk just behind, barely seen. Yet he has been beside her all these years, saying what he thinks all these years. And he deserves some praise in the twilight of his days for all those years. So let us raise a glass to Phil the Greek, that no untreated meal or show him pique, because the Queen and we knew both that he's unique. God bless her. Remember him. Poetry. You all like poetry, but I've written an anti-poetry poem. This is called Delirious. Poetry, Pa, who needs it? Who writes that stuff, but more importantly, who reads it? Take I wandered lonely as a cloud. Those words are held up as the epitome, the litany of the spoken word. The bee's knees of the poetic world. Even the writer's name, Wordsworth. How self-promoting is that? When all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. OK, I'll give him that one, that's not bad, but he gets the game away as soon as we see the yellow sway. The waves beside them danced as they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could be not but gay. There, right there, that line. That's why testosterone-filled boys hate poetry. You'll hear them say, he likes poetry, he must be gay, couldn't be any other way. What else did we read in schools to make us think poetry's for fools? Ah yes, Tarantella. Do you remember an inn, Miranda? Do you remember an inn? The fleas that tease in the high Pyrenees and the wine that tasted of tar? How would that inspire a 15-year-old? And the writer was French, Hilaire Belloc. That's not how we pronounced it. And The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot. Wonderful poetry or miserable dirge. I bought a record, read by the author. I had the urge to make up my own mind, and what did I find? T.S. Eliot could write, but he couldn't recite. I listened one wet night. Wanted to slip my wrist before the end as he droned on and on and on. I'll lend you the disc, you'll see what you've missed. Nothing. You'll be on your knees begging you please take it off. What of now? Have I seen the light? Now I write poetry at night. Was it just teachers who hadn't got it right? Giving us poetry by long dead poets like classical music lovers who think there have been no decent tunes since Shostakovich. Without realising that Mozart and Beethoven will be writing rock music now. Or musicals, heaven forbid. Because yes, that's what sells. In my view, poetry should be fun, delirious, not po-faced or serious. Do I like poetry? Only mine, of course, but then nobody's perfect, are they?